you guys, my name is Key Darlise and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to get into a true crime case, and yes, I had to bring it back because it's all about awareness. And this particular case I'm going to get a little bit heated about because it is sick, and thank God this person was put to justice right before the pandemic, because God knows what she could have possibly done. So yes, we're going to get right into the case of Brittany Zamora, a elementary turned 6th grade teacher, and how just so many people dropped the ball in this situation. But we're also going to talk about the people who stepped up to the plate, people that you wouldn't even think step up to the plate to finally put this person right where they need to be. Quite frankly, need to be under the jail. So we're going to get right into the case of Brittany Zamora. So there's not a lot of information about Brittany Zamora, but we do know that she was born March 16, 1996. She's really bringing Pisces in a horrible light, but we're going to move on from that. She's from Arizona. There's not a lot of information about her family, and I find that quite interesting, especially in the world of social media. And Brittany had like 13 to 18,000 followers on Instagram alone. So the fact that I couldn't find any information about her family, her background, is quite strange. But we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna have some opinions about that later on as we just divulge into it. But a few things about her that we do know is that she was very, very smart. She graduated with a 4.0 summa cum laude from Arizona State University. She was part of the Golden Key Honor Society, and she was certified to teach K through 8. So right after college, she became a 5th grade teacher at Littleton Elementary School. And she was so well with children that she ended up becoming Teacher of the Year in 2015 to 2016. Within the same year of her winning all of these awards in her professional life, she was flourishing as well as in her personal life. She had finally got married to her high school sweetheart, Daniel, who is a local tattoo artist in Arizona. They had met each other when they were 16 years old, and they finally decided to make a union and get married. However, things were getting ready to shift for Brittany in her career. Her principal was so well impressed with Brittany that when he got promoted to work at the middle school, which is La Bria's Academy, he decided to take Brittany along with him. And you'll notice that a lot within public schools and maybe even private and charter schools. When principals get promoted and they go to different schools, they can bring along a staff that they trust and honor and respect with them, so that they have a group or a tribe in a way to help promote and build up that school in the way that they would like. Well, Principal Timothy Dickey decided, you know what, I want Brittany to come along with me. She's great with children. She's certified K through 8, so she already has the certification to legally teach middle school children, so come on along. So during that time, she became a 6th grade teacher, as well as she was going back to school to pursue her master's in school administration, aspiring to be a principal, someone of a higher regard in the educational system. So in 2017, she became Teacher of the Month, and she decided within this year that she was just gonna take a day off. But during that time, she told her students, you know what, I'm gonna be off of work. If you get bored, then you can always text me or chat me, and I'll be bored as well. So if you need anything, just let me know. I think most of the time in school, most teachers will tell you when they're taking the day off. They wouldn't tell you to text them, but yeah, that's what Brittany, Teacher of the Month, Teacher of the Year, decided to do. Now, Brittany decided the way to communicate best with her children during this time was through classroom chat, which, if you know anything about schools now, they use sites, especially with the pandemic going on, they use sites with technology where you can communicate, you can upload assignments You can share announcements with students as well as parents and with co-teachers, I believe. Well, she decided to use classroom chat, which is kind of like Google Classroom, Remind, all of those other sources to communicate in an educational world. She said, if you're bored, just write me on classroom chat if you need anything. Now, I don't know that many teachers that would say something like that, but hey, that was Brittany, or should we say Miss Zamora, since we're getting right into the thick of it at this point. So one of her sixth grade students, a male, decided, and one of her sixth grade students who was 13 decided to text her through the classroom chat, okay? Texting her, innocent, and we have to keep in mind that sixth grade, yes, even though these are preteens, they are still children. So even though the child was responding to her through classroom chat, Miss Zamora decided to take it a little bit further, started calling him baby, started talking to him in an inappropriate manner. And most articles would say that this is where she began grooming him, constantly communicating with him, even chatting and communicating with him at night. Side note, someone comment down below in the chat, does these educational platforms like Google Classroom, Remind, Classroom Chat, do they flag somewhere in their algorithm the inappropriate manner of words or times to talk to students, between students and the children, between students and parents, between both teachers? Do they have an algorithm really set up in their actual platform to flag these things? Because Miss Zamora was doing the most through the classroom chat, to the point where she was writing him at night, calling him at night. She even showed up to his grandmother's house, parked down the street, to where they began a relationship, an emotional relationship, in a Mary Kay Letourneau relationship, if you get my flow. Now, Miss Zamora went so far with the grooming that she even told him to stay after school for a talent show. She proceeded to do the Mary Kay Letourneau with this child, and then have another student be a watch out for the disgusting things that she was doing with him. Not only were you doing inappropriate things, but you are not only bringing on distress amongst other students to bring into the mess of holding on to your sick secrets. Now, not only was Miss Zamora having this relationship with this 13-year-old student, she was also luring and talking to another student in her class, asking him if he was circumcised or not. And when the student didn't even comprehend what she was talking about, she proceeded to want to show pictures, which is absolutely deplorable. This teacher of the month in 2016, this teacher of the year, a principal who actually honored her, respected her in the professional world, doing these sick, horrendous things. Now, it had gotten so out of control that 3 students in the class decided amongst themselves to be heroes and to be leaders, go up to the principal and report that Miss Zamora is doing some inappropriate things. She's showing favoritism, and you know what? You got to commend these 3 students right now, because the innocence of a child understands when something is wrong. They might not can voice it in the way in which it was accurate, but they could tell that something was off and that something needed to be done. These 3 students went to the principal, Mr. Dickey, because I don't think he's a doctor, went to Mr. Dickey, told that something was inappropriately going on. Now, the principal did do an investigation, more so writing down, script writing, getting their statements about what's going on. But he didn't take it any further. All he did was have a discussion with the class about, maybe exaggerating things, maybe not saying these horrendous things about Ms. Zamora, because from the principal's mindset, he couldn't imagine Ms. Zamora doing inappropriate things. He had honored her. She was teacher of the year. He had brought her along. He had kind of mentored her into her educational career. He didn't think that Ms. Zamora would be capable of this. However, Mr. Dickey did not take it further, and it continued for another year. This disgusting behavior, something more horrendous that Mr. Dickey could not even imagine. And one thing I want to say is, why didn't the principal at least address the parents? If you had 3 students who are noticing things in this classroom, why wasn't a parent letter sent out? Why wasn't there an actual leave with pay during an investigation? Because some school districts, if you just say something, they are literally throwing that teacher out of the door. You gotta leave, you're on investigation, but you're still gonna get paid until we figure it out. They didn't do any of that. They literally just had a little talk down to the students, and that's it. Now, the principal did state that he did talk to Ms. Zamora, and she, of course, denied it. And she said, I would never jeopardize my career. I would never jeopardize my husband. But she continued on for a whole nother year. Now, in the meantime, I told you all that Ms. Zamora was having an actual Mary Kay Letourneau relationship with her student, who is 13 years old. This particular student, though, his parents put an app on his phone, and the app is called Century Parent Control. Comment down below if you know about certain apps that can help protect not only kids, but help protect parents from predators like Ms. Zamora. Well, they put this app on their son's phone, and they noticed that the word baby kept flagging on his phone. So with this particular app, I'm not particularly sure, but comment down below if you know exactly how the app works. And if I ever have children one day, I'm definitely going to get this app, because thank you, God, for these parents. They put the app on the phone, and basically whenever certain words were flagged, it would go directly to their phone to see what he was texting, who he was texting, and what it was about. Well, the word baby kept flagging off, and they're like, okay, does he have a girlfriend? Like, what's going on? I know he's 13, preteen. Why is his phone just going off at numerous hours of the day? Well, the parents figured out who was the person texting them. Now, I think it said Brittany. I don't think it was saved as Ms. Zamora, but the mother put 2 and 2 together and realized, hold up, this is his teacher texting him these inappropriate text messages. Matter of fact, I'm friends with her on Instagram. Matter of fact, she has messaged me on Instagram. She actually tried to be my friend on Instagram. The whole time, she was manipulating my child. She was luring a 13-year-old boy, and you're in your late 20s, and you're doing the Mary Kay Letourneau with my child. They were livid. More importantly, the dad was honestly pissed. And I don't blame him at all. He told his son, we are going to take her down. And essentially, because the notion of this person, the notion of Miss Zamora, a teacher who parents, which the state of Arizona trusted you with children to nurture them, and you abuse that. Yeah, that dad was like, no, we're not going to have this happen to any other student. We are going to catch her and make sure that she never does this to any other child again. So what he had his son do was continue to text her to admit to the things that she done. He then proceeded to call her from the son's phone, get her to confess on the phone about the horrendous things she did. Of course, she tried to act clueless, and she even tried to get her husband involved in the foolishness as well. Her husband could not imagine that she would do these things. A person who he fell in love with since the age of 16. He couldn't imagine his wife, who he loved and adored, having a relationship with a child. He even tried to coax the parents to not go to the authorities, to not call this in, to not jeopardize their relationship and Miss Zamora's career. But no, the parents were not having it. And I believe the next day, and immediately they went to authorities, they went to the principal, and they explained everything that happened. Now, Miss Zamora is serving 20 years. She was actually prosecuted in 2019. Like I said, this happened right before the pandemic. Thank God. Can you imagine a Miss Zamora during the pandemic through Zoom calls? Through a Google Hangout? And her foolishness that she was doing pre-COVID. And also the parents are going to sue the school district. And that's where I'm going to go into my list of who's to blame and who's to honor. Because there are certain things that could have been stopped. This actually could have been stopped in 2017 when she was Teacher of the Month. But things escalated. So we're going to get into the people that I think needs to be dealt with. Not just Miss Zamora needs to be blamed for her actions. There are a lot of pieces in here where they should have gotten some type of reprimand as well. So this is just my opinion of who I think is to blame for this. Number one, the school district. Yes, the parents have every right to sue the school district. There were 3 students who stepped up to the plate a year ago and talked about the encounterance that was going on, but yet failed to do anything about it. Yes, not only does the school district need to be sued, but there needs to be a proper protocol and vetting when it comes to these situations. And it shouldn't be any bias towards it when a complaint comes up, especially when these things are actually valid and true. Because the effects of it all, not only was this particular student going to have to live mentally with this the rest of their life, but those fellow students in the classroom, how are you going to explain that to them? The trauma that this entire community probably faced because of her actions. Yes, school district does need some type of change, some type of procedure in place so that this will not affect people for the long haul. Think about it, 6th graders. And I believe that age is like 11, 12 years old or 11 to 13 years old. That is a lot of trauma on a child at such a young age. The second person I think needs to blame for this is the principal. Yes, Mr. Dickey. I don't know what happened to him. Someone comment down below. Was there ever anything that came down the pipeline about Mr. Dickey failing to do the proper protocol to make sure that this did not continue to happen for another year? Please let me know. Please let me know. If he is sitting here still having a job, still being a principal, still recommending people to have jobs in the profession, please let me know. Because something needs to be dealt with. There needs to be a proper procedure amongst principals, amongst administration on situations like this. Yes, children do lie. They do. But when it's actually true, yeah, you have now caused detriment for a more extended time than it needed to be. The third thing, which number 3 is going to be kind of a catch-22. I want to say the husband. Not because of her actions, but the husband. How dare you tell parents that they should not report on how their child was physically traumatized, emotionally traumatized? You're trying to save the image of your wife when a child has been abused for an extended amount of time that they may not ever recover from. Shame on you. And shame on you. And I'm not trying to tell somebody how to rely in their marriage and their relationships, but he is still currently married to her. He stayed married to her, even though she was found guilty 20 years. And do you know that Brittany Zamora, Miss Zamora, is filing for divorce from him? He didn't even file divorce from her. It's almost like he's in this gray cloud of thinking that she is this innocent person. And I'm sorry to be so judgmental towards him, because he is not the blame. All he did was love and cherish her to death do us part. And yet she's the one filing divorce? No, you need to stand up and you need to claim your destiny. And I hope you find the love within to not ever deal with someone like Miss Zamora ever again. The fourth person, which is an obvious one, Miss Zamora, is definitely the person to blame. She has not only ruined her own life, but she has ruined so many people that she probably does not even know. That community alone is probably hurt by her actions that they probably will never recover from. That school is now tainted because of her actions. And lastly, number 5, who I think is to blame, is social media. Miss Zamora has 13 to 18,000 followers on Instagram. How does this woman with so much clout go under the radar? And allegedly, I'm not sure, she was using these social media sites, classroom chat. Yes, I do believe these educational sites, they have chat rooms, they have communications, they have announcements that you send out. There should be a algorithm that is structured to censor how these people are communicating. There should be an algorithm set up to where a teacher should not be able to communicate with a child after hours. There should be an algorithm set up to where they're going to be flagged and it automatically gets pinned. There should be an algorithm set up to where a teacher signs off, checks off before even signing up on a Google Classroom, before even signing up on a Remind, a code of ethics. Because I don't even think there's a code of ethics for some of these chat rooms, these educational chat rooms that they use. There should be some type of algorithm set up. And shame on you, because now we have children being abused through this. And God only knows throughout the pandemic what other ways have children might have been violated through these sites, because that was the only way to educate them throughout this past year. But I don't want to live in the negative. I definitely want to live, be on a brighter side of this, because I think I've been very much heated throughout this entire video. I want to give some thank yous, because thank you to our heroes. I got 4 heroes I want to shout out on here, because if it wasn't for them, this foolishness would have continued. Number 1, the parents. Thank you to those parents who stood up and said, no, this is not right, and this is not going to happen to another child. We are pressing charges. Now, like I said, she did prey on another child with asking him those inappropriate questions about his body parts. However, those parents decided not to press charges. But the fact that they did speak up, they did tell their story, that's enough for me to say thank you. We need more parents like that, who is going to stand up, fight for their children, and when they're being violated, when your child is being groomed, you need to step in. Thank God for those parents putting those parent censor apps on their child's phone. I think now they have even censor apps for the cars. Like when teenagers are driving, you can get an app where you can see where your child is driving to. You can get the app where like literally all of their text messages go to your phone. Thank you to those parents that use those apps so that people like Miss Zamora won't happen to anyone else. The second thing I want to thank you to is these censor apps, which I think I kind of piggyback on. That Century parental control app, oh my gosh, Thank you. Let's just give a round of applause to them right now. Thank you so much for whoever created these type of apps to be put in play. Can you imagine if that parent never had that app on their phone that flagged it? Can you imagine if they never even knew what was going on, how long this could have lasted and played an effect on that child? The third thing that I want to thank, those 3 students that stepped up to the plate and stood up when people didn't believe them, when people thought they were a joke, when the principal just brushed it off. Thank you. I know you might not have had the words to express yourself, and we have to give our children some credit. You know, sometimes we think our kids are joking, and yes, sometimes our kids do kind of fabricate and extend the truth. But yes, when our children are trying to communicate to you that something is wrong and something is not right, we need to look into it and investigate it. Yes, if it's wrong, so be it. We take ownership to that. But we have to do our due diligence. And when a child is telling you that something is happening inappropriate with children, they're getting favoritism, we need to look into that and make sure that it does not happen again. And the last thing I want to thank is the student, that 13-year-old student who stood up and told his parents the exact truth, all the details of the encounters with Zamora. Even that student that talked about Ms. Zamora questioning him. I want to thank you, because if you didn't tell your story, we wouldn't be able to bring awareness, because I bet you there are lots of sick people out here like this that is trying to prey on our children, that is trying to get into these apps, that are trying to abuse educational apps to their advantage. And we have to make sure that that does not happen again. And that's why I'm going to bring out these true crime stories. That's why I'm going to bring awareness, and I'm not going to stop with it. I know I took a break, but I am back with a vengeance, because when I tell you, this is absolutely disturbing that we are still talking about cases like this when we have seen it time and time again. You're going to get caught. It's not going to happen on anyone's watch anymore. Not with these sites getting better with their algorithms. And hopefully these educational sites get better with their algorithms so it won't happen on even school property. But yes, you guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to comment down below, what are some apps to help protect our children from these predators? Okay? See you until next time.